Hello, so this is the long-awaited video that should have been done earlier on the weekend but wasn't, so here it is. I'm just going to talk about a few things, kind of get in. I don't want this to be a long video. I want people to be able to look at this a little bit before raid, maybe a little bit after raid, so I'm going to try and not make this a 30-minute video and just have this be a 15-minute thing. So there are three main things I'm going to talk about in this video. I could have this video going forever. Honestly, I don't think people are going to absorb the information if I do that, so I'm just going to get straight to the point. Three things I want to talk about is our Phase 1 execution, our Phase 2 strategy, and kind of what the nerfs that were announced on the weekend do for us. And so for Phase 1 execution, all I want to say is, at the beginning or at the end of last raid, there was some disagreements, conflict around kind of just wiping on the same thing for 2.5 weeks, and I understand 100%. Some people don't like that people are just calling other people out and, not being helpful. But I honestly just can't disagree with the people that are saying, why aren't people paying attention? The reason we're wiping in Phase 1 is because people are not taking personal responsibility for what they are doing and they're not reflecting. A lot of people just panic and don't do anything when something goes wrong, or they don't do things to secure their own life. So as a general thing, people shouldn't ever be getting hit by bombards, freezing blasts, other people's avalanches. As an example, someone gets avalanche, you see on the screen it pops up, hey, they have avalanche, you watch them. If they move quickly, you don't have to worry about anything. If they move a bit slow, you move a little bit. Especially for melee, if it's on your left side, you move to your right, and then even if they are slow, you don't get hit. So many deaths happen to avalanche, and honestly, it's not excusable for any party. I remember on Thursday's raid, there was an army man someone had avalanche, they didn't move super fast, where they moved in a certain direction, and honestly, you can say, yeah, the person that had avalanche maybe could have been positioned better so that if they got avalanche, they moved, but the people who got hit by avalanche and died also didn't move, so it's, both sides could be taking something from it, but instead of, saying, hey, I could have done this better, it's, trying to toss the blame on something else, and that's not okay. A lot of these pulls in Phase 1, almost everything in Phase 1 is avoidable. I'm going to get into kind of damage breakdowns in general about Phase 1 stuff, but you are in control of your own life. This kind of lack of self-reflection responsibility, in my opinion, are the top two reasons actually, that Mechatoric Stormwall Jaina takes so long, why I have so many excess wipes, why things go on for so much longer than we need to, and if we're going to move on to the next level of play, that needs to get fixed. Otherwise, if it doesn't get fixed, we're going to be on Jaina for a lot longer, and that's not going to be what anyone wants to do. There is a difference between showing up to raid and showing up to play. One of them just makes you online, makes it so that we can raid because we don't have 20, or we have 20. The other one makes it so that we just sit at the same time for a bit until we get a lucky pull, and a lucky time where people are just paying attention, so that we make some progress slowly at a time. And that's not what anyone is spending their time here to do. This is a cutting edge guild looking to go a bit more. If we're going to already put a bunch of time into the game, you might as well, play. I understand some people are not super happy about the current state of the game, but also, you're committed to the group. You should be showing up ready to play and playing, because some people in the guild are very enthusiastic to play, really want to perform, really want to progress. That discrepancy kind of just needs to stop right now. So we're gonna see when we do well, when we don't do well, kind of the implications of that, and through a couple logs. Shouldn't take too much time, so I'm gonna get right into it. This is the first pull we had on Thursday's raid, Wipe 1, Thursday's raid. This is our damage breakdown overall. As you can see, 27% of the damage that we take is from Ice Shard, pure tank damage. A third of the damage that we take is from Chilling Touch, and as you can see, out of that damage, 33% of that is on the tanks as a result of Ice Shards and other mechanics. So you can see, just in tank damage alone, it takes the care of, a third of a third, 11 plus 27, 38% of the damage. Almost 40% of the damage that we take in Phase 1 is on purely tanks, 2 people. Look at the rest of the stuff, we see Searing Pitch is next. Looking through all the math and all the instances of damage taking, which was a complete waste of time, you can see like 20-25% of this is unavoidable. It's people running through fire to drop off barrels so that they don't explode on the raid, to hit ballistas, to get rid of fire when they have avalanche. And then you see the rest of this, and both the examples shown is us stacking up for not getting frozen. Looking at the damage breakdown of this, honestly, when we have 3 priests, some paladins, and some druids, we shouldn't be doing that at all. We should just mass dispel them. The healing, the mana that's going to be spent in taking care of this is significantly more than a mass dispel from a couple, 1 or 2 healing priests and a shadow priest, as well as a shapeshifts and some freedoms. Just to emphasize how much damage is not happening to the raid, number 4 goes into the melee trinket from Crucible. We see Freezing Blast is here, only 1 million damage done, a few instances of people being hit. You see right here, some are absorbed. You know, sometimes I take the hit to hit a ballista. You see Credit right here has the huge absorb to probably use Touch of Karma to gain some damage on the boss. Some of them aren't mitigated, which means that just people just got hit. Burning Rush is as much damage done as Freezing Blast. Grasp of Frost here, some other stuff. You see avalanche damage is inconsequential this pull. Only 1 hit of avalanche happened in the entire phase 1. You look here, you see a similar story. You see a bit more Searing Pitch damage, just because I called to go in a bit earlier for a stack. You see huge tank damage again, but you see other instances of damage happening, so the percentages aren't as high. Avalanche a lot more than normal. Suffering still here high. Burning Rush not as much. Someone getting frozen. Bombard hit. You see there's actually no bombard hits at all in here. Just to kind of show the amount of damage that we're taking is, you know, can be reduced greatly by just playing the game properly. We look at a couple pulls that aren't so hot. This is a wipe. I cut off the part where I said wipe so we don't see intense amounts of Searing Pitch damage. But this is what's happening already, you know, halfway through, because this is 135 and these are all 3+ minutes. Same amount of Freezing Blast damage is the highest one here. More Bombard damage than any of the ones there. More, a decent amount of Avalanche damage going on. Just more damage, unnecessary damage taken. That results in us wiping. And so we look at the deaths and what happened in this time period. This is when Milton dies, because he's just taking damage. Honestly, if people are getting hit by stuff they shouldn't, and that directs healer attentions to the tanks that are taking, you know, 40% of the damage in the phase, the tanks can fall over it. Please dodge your stuff so that we don't have tank deaths. Going on to the other example, this is another wipe at 3 minutes, and you see the damage is insane. Like 25% more damage taken than the other pulls. Searing Pitch damage is huge. Freezing Blast damage is massive. This is over double any of the other times. Avalanche damage is huge. Munition Barrel is, you know, it sucks. Sometimes we have to deal with it. It doesn't at all, you know, make the difference. We're already cutting the pull short than the other ones. Bombard damage high up there. It's just people not paying attention. Too many Freezing Blasts, too many Bombards, a bunch of extra damage taken that's not necessary. So, I'm going to talk a bit about Phase 2. Changes to strategy, overall talk about flows, just get right in there. This is a demonstration of our composition, what we're doing in left side versus right side. You see 11 people over here, you see 9 people over here. Looking through logs and looking at distance stuff to really solidify my stance on this. Right side does have a bit less movement from Jaina to the barrel. In general, starting over there is just nicer overall, for a couple reasons. That and our current composition, we need to allow the healers to do what they need to do, and we need to make sure that we are consistently getting over there in time. Gateway is one thing, other things are another. We look at the right side, we have Holy Paladin, 2 Shadow Priests, Affliction Warlock, not the highest mobility, and kind of moving over to the other side, so the gateway is pretty much essential for that to happen smoothly. You look over here, we have 2 monks, a demon hunter, a mage, and a druid, and then a red paladin is okay, I guess. Not too hot as well. But we have so much mobility on this side that moving over to the other side shouldn't even be an issue. Even if people are late to the gateway, most of the people don't even need the gateway to get there with time to spare. So first thing we'll be doing, we'll be moving over there, changing where we stack up. The stack plot might be slightly different. Cross is definitely going to be different. But we're just going to group over to the right side and take care of that. Moving on to other things, this is kind of just showing if I were to move over the people. Obviously the people on the left side will have a little bit more damage because there's another added kill, which does show, props to the warriors doing damage close to the left side in general. You see the Lux are a bit down here as well, so if I wanted to force a little bit more left side damage, I'd probably swap off one of the Lux for either a warrior or rogue. Going straight into phase 2 stuff. So this is going to be replay of one of our pulls. This is actually our last pull of Wednesday raid when we got, the boss down a bunch. We're just going to go straight to the intermission phase and kind of talk about what we should be doing and when. So you see here, we're going through the phase, we're killing ads, doing stuff. Last ad is being killed on both sides. And so we're going to take a spot. Interrupt is going to happen in a couple seconds. Interrupt is here. Jaina is here. So you see people moving. Unfortunate freezes on both sides, which, whatever. That just people just need to dodge and play well. We're going to move over. We're going to see broadside was already casted. Just going to go back again to show that. Jaina is active right here. We're moving. Broadside is cast on a few people. And then someone's going to move over there. And then we see Glacial Ray is charging right at the time of someone dropping it off. You see Ares right here about to drop off the Bombard. Glacial Ray is finished casting. Broadside drops the moment Glacial Ray is finished. So at this point of the Glacial Ray being finished, the melee should be getting prepped to move to attack this barrel. And the range should be, if they have dots, dotting it up. Otherwise getting ready to swap to this barrel. The barrel is now active. And we see right now when the barrel is active, what's going on. I don't know why this thing is here. That's really annoying. We see some dots primed up by the priests, something by Toad, and some people are swapping over to it. This is, 3 seconds, 4 seconds, 5 seconds in is when you see damage really starting to ramp up on the thing. So right before this explodes, you see the amount of stacks. People have 12 stacks, which is a bit too high. 10 or 11 is where you want to be. That's honestly solved by attacking this barrel more quickly. 1 more or 2 more stacks doesn't seem much to people who haven't healed, but it's an astronomical difference in kind of ramp up when this is happening. A lot of the healing issues will be solved by killing this sooner, as well as the positioning with the healers that I mentioned earlier, and having more available cooldowns to the healers at the beginning of the start, which is having the druid and the paladin not have to move too much. Monk moving over and revivaling, priests moving over and bubbling. And so anyways, this thing is now happening. You see this countdown. Everyone should be on the side leaning towards our next stack. So you see most people are here because we'll be stacking over here next. You see the cast is almost done. People start moving out. You need to move out. Someone is late and it did not move out. So we go here. Broadside happens, Icefall happens, Avalanche happens, and Siegebreaker Blast happen. So all these things happen right here, which sucks a lot. Icefall, we just have to hope we don't get, screwed over. If we do, we need to move. But it's very important that the Siegebreaker Blast moves out and the tank with Avalanche moves out. And we're going to have Namuro be the escort for the tank, because you see right here, Milton and Dragon has Siegebreaker Blast. Milton has Avalanche. Milton doesn't have a buddy, so when he drops it off, he gets frozen, which makes it so we have to do more damage to that, more healing for the tanks to take, which is unfortunate. So we'll just go with that. We're going to see a Glacial Ray soon, right now actually. This should be faced over here, so the next one is faced over here. And then the rest of the phases, kind of, you deal with the mechanic coming up next. It's not that big of a deal. This is the hardest part to phase 2, is the stuff we've already just dealt with right now. So, the things to take away from this: Glacial Ray cast starts, melee move to the barrel. Breaking the barrel as soon as possible is the most important thing in this fight. So we're talking about nerfs. What do these nerfs do? We are going to figure out what the nerfs are for May 14th. Alright, so random and bar locations are now less likely to hit ballistas when people aren't nearby. Chilling Touch now begins when Phase 3 begins. Prismatic Enemy spawns closer to Jaina. Icefall is not in sync with Gathering Blizzard. More responsive and reduced health. So I'm going to say right now this makes Phase 3 an absolute joke. These two things combined to make Phase 3 an absolute joke. Maybe this is okay, not sure. Essentially, what this does is we are allowed to kill the ad during intermission. We won't gain chilling stacks until we interrupt Jaina's Arcane Barrage and begin Phase 3. That means no ad to worry about, no interrupts, no moving out with debuffs, which increases damage. 5% less health on Mythic difficulty is 1.5 less % damage we need to do than we need to right now, which is huge given that the healing becomes insane at the very end. Prismatic Image is now closer to Lady Jaina Proudmoore. It means maybe we cleave it down, maybe we don't. If they're changing timings, it may be that we don't get a double Icefall. Probably not going to mess with it and just see what happens with burning the boss. Maybe we'll try some cleave because we have some Destruction Warlocks in the raid and all that other business. Phase 2, this is very nice. The first lethal point is no longer a lethal point. Makes Phase 2 cleaner overall. Phase 1, this makes it so we don't die to RNG, but we don't die to RNG much at all anyways. Maybe like one pull a night, you have this, that really sucks. The rest is just playing, it's just people playing better. So these nerfs will really shine when we get to Phase 3 and can kind of just close out the fight. The reduced life nerf is pretty nice in all the phases overall. Phase 1, it means we don't have to worry about the third boat basically ever. Second phase, it means we have less stacks overall to deal with. We can hit the the barrels before they ramp up of probably another 1 or 2 stacks, which makes it nice for the healers. But these nerfs are huge for Phase 3. We need to get to Phase 3 to take advantage of these nerfs.